I created the olive oil guy. I am not the olive oil guy. I am Mazen, and olive oil guy is my creation, and it's a reflection of me. But if one day, for whatever reason, it disappears, I am still Mazen, and I have still created the olive oil guy.
I'm Karine, and this is The Seat of the Muse, a show I started out of love for meaningful conversations and a curiosity about the stories behind what people do. Each episode is an invitation to sit down, slow down, and listen in, because sometimes a single story can shift how we view our own. This is a space for the stories we don't always hear, the ones behind the titles, the passions, the quiet turning points, and the worlds hidden in plain sight. Now let's get into today's episode. Mazen, welcome to The Seat of the Muse.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that you're here, and I love that we're doing this together now, and we have all of your products here coming up that we're going to try. But before starting any session, I like to ask my guest one question. Imagine we're doing this in front of an audience. Who is one person you would want to see in your front row, and why?
Very easy. My dad. I think that's probably the template answer that everyone gives you. It's either my dad or my son. I don't have a son yet, so for now it's my dad.
Okay. Is it because he inspired you to go into olive oil, or how?
Yeah, him and my mom and my whole family have really been a driving force and an inspiration ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
When I tell you a little more about my story and why I'm doing this, you'll understand a bit more about their influence in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you're known across social media and beyond as the olive oil guy, but we're going to fact check all of this. And if we can start right from there about actually the name of, the identity you're creating and then the product itself. Where did it all start and why olive oil?
Well, the name comes from almost a joke that my friends, I at one point in university, I started to distribute olive oil and I was so obsessed with it. And the name, the olive oil guy, came from a joke where, I was the guy that was obsessed with olive oil and naturally things clicked. But actually, this obsession with olive oil stems from childhood. I grew up in Lebanon, and you're Lebanese as well. And if you're from anywhere in the Mediterranean, olive oil is such a big part of your culture. This is what we grew up with. It's almost something you never buy from the supermarket. You have an aunt, you have an uncle, someone that gifts it to you every year. This is what I grew up with. When I was around 9 years old, I traveled to Portugal with my dad, and I tasted an olive oil that was completely different to what we had back home in Lebanon. And that's when I discovered the concept of a craft. Many years after that, I was in Boston, and I started to import olive oils from all over the Mediterranean, and it was very scrappy in the beginning. I was getting them via DHL, but the point was more for me to sort of get these oils because I loved them and I wanted to show the world and people that there's many varieties of olives and it's as intricate as wine. So many years later, this went from me being an 9-year-old kid who grew up with olive oil, had this awakening moment, to a 21-year-old young adult that was importing all these different olive oils, to now I'm a sommelier for olive oil. I've served as a judge on international competitions for olive oil. I've taught at Cordon Bleu, particularly for olive oil, and I still teach there. I've written a book about olive oil. So I went from this little kid that was obsessed with olive oil to now actually being one of the world's subject matter experts on olive oil. And the whole journey has been super serendipitous. And that's all deeply rooted in the olive oil guy, let's say, and this persona that I created. So there's a lot more to say, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I feel like, obviously there is that kind of journey, which we'll go through and kind of dissect a bit. But do you remember actually, because you mentioned it was in Portugal that you actually, maybe fell in love more or discovered a new variety of olive oil. How different was it, if you remember, from like the ones you had at home in Lebanon?
I remember it being very bitter and pungent and like very green in flavor, like a fresh bouquet of herbs. The oil in Lebanon is a lot more smooth and earthy, goes perfectly well with the hummus and, completely different flavor profile. I had no clue why the flavor was different.
Yeah.
What I do remember is I was with my dad in that moment and I was in Portugal and I was like, oh my God, this olive oil can we buy a bottle and take it to Lebanon? And my dad was like, عنا بلبنان في أطيب زيت, you know, like in Lebanon we have the best olive oil, like we're not going to carry a bottle from Portugal. I was like, okay, fine. But I still remember that moment.
I'm sure it's marked you because like this is where it all started.
And I haven't found that oil since.
No.
Maybe it's all in my head in a dream, but I guess I'll have to keep looking.
I mean, if it's in a dream in your head, now it's like it became your reality in a way. You're like completely immersed in olive oil. So you said, you know, you imported a lot of different ones. There are different varieties. What are some of those different varieties? Because, you know, we hear a lot about like virgin olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. What do you think is kind of like the main difference with those? And for someone who's not from the Mediterranean region, and so that's not part of their diet, how would you kind of like entice them to kind of include it in their day-to-day?
Okay, first question. Guys, extra virgin olive oil is the best and actually the only olive oil that we judge as experts.
Okay.
Virgin olive oil has some defects, so khalas, it's already, you know. Refined olive oil, refined is a compliment. If I tell you, Karine, oh my God, you're so refined. That's like very nice. Exactly. In the world of olive oil, the refined is the worst type of thing.
I realized that when I was reading your book, actually, and I was like, why? Because for me, refined has such a like positive, elevated connotation to it.
So refined olive oil is a chemically derived, deodorized, subject to heat, subject to chemicals. Like it's a chemical product. It's not a fresh product.
Okay.
Real extra virgin olive oil is a fruit juice. Okay. Olives are fruits. They have pits inside. Once you press that, you cold press it, you make extra virgin olive oil. This is the best type of olive oil, and the price can't compare, the quality can't compare. And even in Lebanon, I don't even think we have industrial refineries to make the refined olive oil. The big problem is that in supermarkets in non-producing countries, refined olive oil or the chemically derived one is sold as pure olive oil.
Okay.
So don't let the packaging cheat you. Pure does not actually mean anything. It's a scam.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of ways that people cheat with extra virgin olive oil. That's a whole different type of different thing that I can talk to you for hours about.
Yeah.
And even when you do the sommelier training and when you sit on international competitions, half of the job is defect training.
Okay. Oh, wow.
It's taking an oil and understanding why is it defective, what's wrong with it, what went wrong.
Okay, interesting.
And when we judge, we only judge extra virgin olive oil.
Okay. And what are some like defects you find, like the most common ones maybe? Or
well, the one thing people should know is extra virgin olive oil is always best when it's fresh.
Okay.
With time, exposure to light, heat, oxygen, the quality starts to deteriorate, right? So there's a thing called rancidity. Rancidity will come with exposure to light, heat, oxygen, and time.
Yeah.
A very fraudulent practice that you will find in supermarkets is something called an EU blend. This is also found in honey and in other categories. So effectively, what some brands will do is they will sell you a fancy-looking Italian bottle or Spanish bottle or whatever. The oil inside is not even from Italy.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that Italy has the best oil. Actually, some countries have very good oil. It's not a question of where the oil is from. The reason why it's bad that there's so many origins to the oils is because brands that mix these oils don't actually care about the origin, the provenance, the quality, the variety that's going into the bottle. They just blend whatever they can get at the cheapest price, sell it to you in a fancy looking Italian bottle, because typically Italian food will sell for better prices, and call it a day. And most people in non-producing countries think that's real olive oil, but it's not.
Interesting.
I hope that will, to answer the second part of your question, I hope that explanation will entice people to look further about what it is that they're consuming, why single origin matters, why the variety of the olive matters.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm sure it comes with a lot of like health benefits. If, you know, you go for extra virgin compared to others, then you'll be like just consuming calories with no benefits if you just go to like the lesser ones.
Correct.
Yeah.
And freshness. The fresher, the higher the polyphenol rate, which is antioxidants. The fresher, the better for you, the more health benefits, the more pungent the oil is. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And if you think of it this way, each variety of olive will give you a different tasting oil. Think of it this way. When you go to the supermarket and you want to buy table olives to eat, they all look different.
Yeah.
Kalamata looks different to a nocellara.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you don't know the names. Maybe
No,
most people
I
don't
love
know.
Kalamata.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So why, and they taste different.
Yeah, they do.
So why wouldn't their oil taste different?
That's very true. That's very true. So if we circle back to your own olive oil, because nice way to do it, because you've spoken about how, you exported other olive oils, from different places around the world. At what point did you feel like you wanted to have your own, actually?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure at what point. For me, the ethos of my brand is the variety element. That olive oil is a craft, just like wine is a craft, coffee is a craft, honey is a craft, and there's so many different varieties. Most olive oil brands are location specific. They tell you, oh, Lebanon, whatever, North Lebanon or South Lebanon has the best olive oil, and our land has the best olive oil, or oh, Tuscany has the best olive oil, or oh, Puglia has the best olive oil. And all these different regions and brands within different regions are like competing on who has the best olive oil. I'm not saying that I'm location agnostic.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm the expert. I've tried thousands and thousands of olive oils. I judge thousands and thousands of olive oils every year. I'm not saying one region has the best, because the reality is that the best doesn't exist. It's like wine. It depends on your preference.
Yeah, it's very subjective.
So as an expert, I can get you the best. And this was the whole ethos behind my brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I started, I was getting different oils, but I was essentially doing the same thing. And because I would get an oil from South Lebanon, that's amazing. Get an oil from Tuscany, that's incredible. From South Africa, from all sorts of different places. And the whole idea is for people to be able to taste the difference between one and the other.
Yeah.
And the natural progression was to start my own brand. So, yeah.
What was kind of like the first step you took once you decided, okay, that's what I'm going to do? Like, did it come from first, like, finding where you're going? I know you're talking about, like, you're not looking for that one place, but then how did you come about this?
So, basically, it was October 2022. Okay. I had just left my job in a startup, corporate, like, whatever. Okay. I had almost like a quarter-life crisis. I think this is what they call them these days.
Yeah.
And
you can have an every-year crisis. Like, there's no more.
You can have a weekly crisis if you want to. But it was like, what am I doing? Yeah. This is something I really love. I've always loved consumer goods. My family's been in consumer goods for 80 years. It's something I grew up with. My first job was in consumer goods at PepsiCo in the US. Yes. It's something that I deeply loved. So there was that element. Second element is the love for olive oil, which I hope by now is very clearly defined.
For those who weren't aware.
If you're not aware. So the second element was the love for olive oil. Yeah. And then the third element was this desire to make my own mark on the world. So October 12, 2022, I was sitting with like a career coach and I was like, okay, what do I want to do with my life? And he's like, Mazen, what really fulfills you? I was like, when I was in university, I was importing these olive oils, and what fulfilled me was like, being the guy that's obsessed with olive oil. And then I was like, the olive oil guy. Oh my God, that's the name. Yeah. And in a second, I swear, things just fell into place. Yeah. And it was like the universe all aligned, my background, my family's background, the fact that I'm in London and I saw a huge opportunity and a gap in the market, my obsession with olive oil, all these different things intersected in this beautiful thing, and that momentum was incredible. Yeah. That night, October 12, 2022, I incorporated the business and I went online and I see that there was the Europe's largest food show happening for the next, like, October 12, 13, 14, 15.
No way. Okay, perfect timing.
So I was like, okay, I'm going tomorrow. So the next day I got on the Eurostar from London. I went to Paris, to Cial, and I saw maybe 100 people, basically. Oh. And at that point, I had imported these oils from back in university. I had some experience, but I still didn't know the full gist of the industry. I still didn't have the credentials that I do now. And I just chased one opportunity after the next, and then something else happened, which was really interesting. It's all like serendipitous events, but I had a very clear vision on the design, wanting it to be disruptive. I didn't want to create a copy paste olive oil because I saw an opportunity to really disrupt the shelf, because everyone else looks basically the same.
Yeah, I agree.
And
yours is more modern.
Exactly. And I walk into Zara the weekend after that, and I have a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, and I saw her designs, but I hadn't seen her in a long time, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should hit her up. I hadn't seen her in 5 years or something. I walk into Zara, and she's right in front of me.
Oh, wow.
And
oh,
I was
my
like,
God.
hey, come, let's talk.
I had you on my mind.
It's crazy.
Wow.
And then why I started with Greece. I met a guy in Greece and at Sial, at the Paris Trade Show, and I really loved what he was doing.
Yeah.
So I traveled to Greece, and we started working together, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, since then I've worked with hundreds of and sourced hundreds of different farms, and because I'm a judge on the competitions, because I've worked with chefs, and because I'm this industry figure, I feel very close to the people behind this liquid gold, let's say.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, that's super inspiring, honestly. Like,
Thank you.
It's so nice. And then how did you kind of get up to speed in terms of like your knowledge on olive oil? Because obviously it's one thing to love it and then appreciate it and want to produce it, but then this whole aspect of you being a judge, you getting into Cordon Bleu as a teacher, like how did your credentials and your like how do you say whatever, I forgot the word.
How did the credentials come, basically?
Exactly.
Well, to be honest, even if I told you fully what I think, the truth is that there's a lot of like different events that happen that aren't necessarily in my control, but they're just series of events that happen as a result of me putting myself out there and me chasing this very clear vision. As I said earlier, because there was this unity of all the different parts of my life into the Olive Oil Guy, the brand that I created, it gave me a lot of energy to go forward. And I guess the first thing that happened was I served as a judge on the international competitions. I think the first year I served as a judge was, very serendipitously, someone dropped out last minute and they needed someone in London, and there weren't a lot of experts in London. So you could say I had found a niche, and right time, right place. But leading up to that, I had worked a lot developing myself online and putting myself out there. And then after that, I had an amazing project with a Michelin restaurant that has 54 stars, where I curated an olive oil menu. Nice. And that came also very serendipitously in a conversation with someone that I know that was working there, someone that I know and I respect a lot. And after that, I had a friend that was studying at Cordon Bleu, who attended one of my tastings and told her professor about it.
Oh, wow.
And her professor was like, "Oh, I want to meet this guy." So I met the professor. We did like a pop-up. Literally, It was like free event. It was a free event. I didn't get paid for it, but I was so happy to do it.
Yeah, of course.
It oversubscribed. Like the tickets were gone in literally 1 hour, and there were like 200 people in the room. And when they saw that, they were like, people seem to like this.
Yeah,
so then they got me on as an instructor, and just one thing leads to another. But the underlying thing is put yourself out there, find your niche, and make sure all these different parts of your life align.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, definitely. Yeah,
that's how I make sense of it.
No, of course. And like, I feel like if you put yourself out there,
the things will come to you, and you'll find ways to like make sense of those like little signs or encounters that you have, and just voicing things that are maybe just like in the back of your mind that you want to do will get you somewhere. Like similarly to me, obviously we're here today because I spoke to a mutual friend about the podcast I had, and they were like, oh, you should get Mazen on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I hadn't said anything about it, we probably wouldn't have had this conversation now. So I totally agree with that. And so just to come a bit to your Cordon Bleu. So you answered my first question, which was going to be, how did it happen? You know, did you approach them or did they approach you? I guess we've answered that. But so how does it feel like to introduce, you know, chefs in training to the world of olive oil?
Very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Chefs, when they're in training, are very malleable and they're willing to learn new things. And what's even more interesting is speaking to chefs who have 54 Michelin stars that think they know what good quality olive oil is, but they have no clue on anything. That's super interesting. And the feeling of seeing them learn something new from me as a 27-year-old guy, you know, is very, very nice. And I'm super grateful for that. With the new chefs, I mean, they're incredible. Their Cordon Bleu is probably the best cooking school in the world, and they're all going to be leaders one day in the craft that they do. So having the opportunity to allow them to see olive oil in a new light beyond just like an oil, having them see it as a culinary vehicle that will enhance their flavors and enhance their culinary creations is incredibly empowering, and it's something I'm super happy about and very grateful for.
Absolutely. I can imagine, like, it must be so nice to be able to share that wisdom and knowledge, especially at the earlier start of like kind of, you know, their journey. And is there any like kind of misconception or ideas that, you know, they were like surprised to discover about olive oil, or that's something you had to like really change their mind on? Can be one person actually from the class, not like general consensus.
No, the thing that I always stress about is know about the quality, because the thing I explained in the beginning of the podcast to do with the extra virgin and the different grades of olive oil and what an EU blend is. Most people don't know that. The market leading olive oil in the UK, which I will not name for legal purposes, shipping and tax not included. The UK's leading olive oil brand is an EU blend that has Italian branding.
Wow.
The second one is an EU blend that has Spanish branding. So it's really, really sad. C'est la vie.
I mean, hopefully there's room for like, you know, education and then improvement and change eventually, you know, if it starts early as well and it's like kind of in people's radar. I feel like also like, you know, you hear a lot more about olive oil now, like it's, I don't know if it's just me who's seeing it like as a trend, especially with desserts, because obviously, you know, you use olive oil in dishes and that there are so many ways to enhance a meal. But then nowadays, even when I walk on the street and I see like ice cream with olive oil drizzle, like chocolate mousse in a restaurant with olive oil drizzle, like how do you feel about that? Sensitive topic.
The craziest one was Starbucks with olive oil in their coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Oleato. The founder, I think, of Starbucks, that was his last innovation before he he stopped working at Starbucks or whatever. But I think that flopped massively. Listen, how do I feel about it? I think some desserts work well with olive oil. Like I like vanilla ice cream with pistachio on top and some olive oil. But I also think that people are just trying to create new trends all the time and trying to mix different things. I'm very much a purist when it comes to my food, and I like simple flavors. I think olive oil can go nicely with a lot of things, but I'm not a fan of just put it on anything and see what happens. You know? This is my take. But vanilla ice cream, proper Madagascar vanilla with olive oil and pistachio nibs.
Olive oil.
Yeah, of course, the Greek one.
Either
Greek or Spanish picual.
Okay.
Early harvest.
Okay.
Now we're getting technical.
Yeah, that's okay. Like I feel I need to take pen and paper.
Spanish olive oil, picual. Make sure it's early harvest, or Greek koroneki. amazing.
Yeah. So I think now is a great time to introduce your book. I'll show it on this camera.
Yay!
Yeah, where if people want to learn and get more technical, I think they can really read into that. I mean, I prepared, like I read it obviously,
Yeah.
to kind of like understand, get some questions, etc. But I find it super interesting because you also put like recipes at the end, which I have to try. But I think like if there's one kind of like main key takeaway you want people to take from this, other than the quality of the olive oil, which is important.
Yeah.
What's one thing that, they'll be like, okay, maybe I need to read this book now that he said that.
Well, the book was very much inspired from what I teach at Cordon Bleu, and I wrote it after I put together the lecture, basically. So it's your one-stop shop to understanding quality, to understanding how to taste like an olive oil sommelier, what are flavor defects, why flavor defects happen, the importance of biodiversity. It's difficult to say what's the most important thing is. For sure, like quality is one, knowing what extra virgin olive oil really is. But bar that, it would probably have to be
and this is where we cut and we're like, people have to read it.
People have to read it.
Exactly. Let's leave it at that. Let's go to the fun part and let's try your olive oils.
So this is my Greek olive oil. It's Koroneiki variety.
Okay.
It comes from Sparta in Greece.
Okay.
So Sparta is very ancient place. You might know it from the movies, probably. But it's home. It's in the Peloponnese, which is a peninsula in Greece. And the Peloponnese is the powerhouse of production in Greece for olive oil. Okay. And the variety is called the Koroneiki. This is the crown olive.
Okay.
I love this variety because it's the most versatile when compared to all the other ones.
Okay. Do I get some?
Yeah.
Is there a technique to like pouring quantities?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So I'll show you the technique right now. So
I'll do the same.
And most people are shocked, but we usually taste it without any bread in a competition.
Okay.
The first step to tasting an oil is actually smelling it.
Okay.
It's with the nose, counterintuitive. But what we're looking for is three things.
Okay.
Fruitiness, bitterness, and pungency.
Okay. What does pungency mean? Sorry, I'm just like going to
No
interrupt
worries.
and pretend I'm just like completely stupid.
You are not. Fruitiness is felt in the nose and on the front of the mouth. Bitterness is typically felt on the side of the mouth. And pungency is down the throat. So some people refer to pungency as pepperiness.
Yeah.
Pungency is a way uglier word, but I think it's more accurate.
We're professionals here.
Yeah. So when you taste an olive oil, it's meant to have a combination of the three. Some olive oil will have more fruitiness. Some olive oil will have more bitterness. Some olive oil will have more pungency. But typically, in a good quality olive oil, you should have a balance of all three. Okay. Now, this is assuming the oil is good.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So what is a bad oil? I think we can explain this to people, and it's something you'll also find in the book. A bad oil will not taste or smell fresh.
Okay.
So when you smell it or you taste it, it will have like a lack of freshness. Okay. So either like a cheesy smell or mushrooms or something of the or a metallic taste or something of the sort. So very unpleasant stuff. And the reason why this happens is primarily due to fermentation or oxidation or rancidity. Okay. So leave aside the defective stuff. When you taste good quality olive oil, you're looking for fruitiness, bitterness, or pungency.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to smell it.
Oh my God, I need to drink it.
So it smells very green.
Yeah.
Like a fresh bouquet of herbs.
Yeah.
Some citrus, Don't know if you smell the
I do.
citrus,
I do.
like a lemon zest or.
Yeah, I do.
And now we can taste it. So.
Just a bit.
Sorry, yeah, you're so
I'm
eager
gonna
to
go all
do it.
in like a
So
shot.
I'm going to explain how we usually taste it.
Okay.
Take just a little bit,
Okay.
and then make sure it's like nicely spread,
Okay.
and you're looking for the sensations on the front, on the side, on the back of the
Okay.
throat.
Ooh, I feel it.
Do you feel it in the back of your
yeah,
throat?
yeah, I do. I do.
So that's the pungency,
Pungency, yeah.
and that's the direct proof of polyphenols and antioxidants in the oil. So for most people, drinking olive oil straight up can be intense.
Yeah,
and
but I would drink that one. Honestly, it's so good.
Yeah, good. Are you just saying that?
No, no. No, I really mean it. It's like, it's not spicy. Like, how do you say it? You feel it kind of tinkling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to think of something when you cook. The two carriers of flavor is salt and oil on a chemical molecular level. So when you have a good quality oil and a good quality salt, that's all you need. With a nice piece of meat or a nice vegetable, that's all you need. Forget all the different spices and the whatever and adding a bunch of different things to one another. To just need a good quality oil. This Koroneiki, Greek Koroneiki, particularly this one, is the most versatile oil. You can use it in a salad, with zest, with ila akhirih.
Yeah.
So let's taste the next one.
Yeah, sure.
These, I haven't released these yet, so you're getting exclusive sneak peek.
Amazing.
And actually, I haven't printed the cans yet. So actually, the design is a sample. So we stuck a label on a can, but the oil inside is actually a picual from Spain.
Okay.
So this one is a picual variety. It comes from Andalusia. Andalusia is in the south of Spain. Picual is an incredible variety. It's quite popular in Spain. But when harvested early, it gives you an incredible flavor, fresh tomatoes.
Wow.
So
now I'm excited.
We'll try it together.
Do you drink the whole thing in one go? Because I kept some. I mean, I want to finish it.
Yeah, leave some. You don't need to drink it all.
Okay. I would like to, but...
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
So, next, we have picual from Spain.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to kind of like shake it like, I mean...
Usually what we do is we warm it on our hand. Now it's a paper cup.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay.
So it's not going to work. But the reason why we do that is to release the aromas from the oil, basically.
Okay.
So when you're ready, give it a smell.
Yeah.
This is like green tomato.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't smell the lemony citrus from the
completely
other one.
Different.
Yeah.
And the color is different too.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, it smells good.
Now we can taste it.
Okay. Yeah,
this one is a lot more bitter.
Yeah.
On the side of the mouth, right?
The oof wasn't a bad one.
No, but it's completely different flavor profile.
Yeah.
And for me, this is characteristic green tomato.
Okay. Yeah. It's
characteristic.
So good. Yeah. Love that. Is it fine if I cough? Like, is it a sign of something with...
It's a sign of freshness.
Freshness. Okay.
So they say cough one time, good oil. Cough twice, great oil. No. Yeah. Anyway.
No, but it's so good. When does this come out?
Unclear.
Okay.
These ones, when they're gonna come out in stores.
Okay.
So you got a very exclusive sneak peek.
Yeah.
I think by Q4 of this year, by the end of this year, they'll release. Okay. We have infused olive oils that are releasing sooner.
Okay.
So a citrusy one, a herby one, chili one, and that's gonna be amazing, as well as mini cans. 250 ml
very
mini
cool.
cans.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
So that's gonna be super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that.
Thank you.
And so how did you get to Harrods? Because, obviously, like, you're
Oh,
selling
nice
there.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in Harrods, we're in Selfridges, we're on Zapp,
Yes.
we're in an amazing host of different independent shops. We got into Harrods, they found us,
Okay, wow.
and the first shop I got into was Andreas in Chelsea Green, an amazing shop.
Yeah, I think I know it, yeah.
And I used to go there as a customer because I loved exploring the brands. And one day I walked in, asked for the owner, showed him my olive oil, and he's like, "All right, we'll take it."
Ooh.
So he put me on the shelf. A month or two later, I displayed at a place called Ray the Store,
Okay.
which is like a pop-up shop, and the buyer of Harrods happened to be there.
Oh, wow.
And meanwhile, I had gifted someone on Instagram who happened to also be uh, work connected via work to the
Okay.
Harrods buyer, and they she liked it and she emailed me, and I thought it was scam, but I played along,
Yeah.
and
Good you did.
now we've been at Harrods for almost 2 years, and we're the best-selling product there.
Yeah.
In
Amazing.
terms of olive oil, of course, sorry. But we're the best-selling olive
To be
oil there,
specific.
to be specific. I'm coming for you. And yeah, since then it's just been Harrods, and then Selfridges came knocking on our door, and then Zapp, and it's just been one after the other. So
Okay. That's so cool. I love
Yeah.
that. So before we wrap it up, I just want to play a game of like 10 rapid questions at you. Whatever comes, I mean, some are like facts, so it comes to your mind, it has to. Just whatever comes, answer. No need to be too long of an answer.
okay,
Are you ready?
we
Okay. What is the biggest myth about olive oil?
biggest myth. The color of your olive oil has nothing to do with your quality, with the
Okay.
quality.
Cool. Okay. How many varieties of olive oil are around the world?
I believe it's 1,600 and counting.
Wow. Both facts check on your book. I'm sure it's written
Yeah,
somewhere.
it is 1,600 and
Okay.
counting.
Who is the largest producer of olive oil?
Well, depends how you define a producer, but the largest producing region of olive oil is Andalusia in Spain.
Okay. How many kilograms of olives do you need to make 1 liter of oil?
The real answer, the factual answer is that it depends on the variety, the yield, and when you harvest the olive. So the earlier you harvest the olive, the less it gives you oil. The later you harvest the olive, the more it gives you oil.
Okay.
And some varieties give you more oil than others. And yields will be around 14-17% per olive. So that's the answer. You can do the math.
Yeah, okay. Good answer. Okay. Is one type of olive oil healthier than the other?
There's something called high phenolic olive oil, and that's when the number of polyphenols, which is antioxidants in the oil, is above 250 milligrams per kilo. The problem is that there's a lot of oils that have high phenolic status, but to get this high phenolic status, you need certain certifications, which are very expensive for your average farmer.
Yeah.
So what I would say is that the best quality olive oil is the one that gives you the cough in the back of your throat.
Okay, I
Pure
just
and
got
simple.
that. Yeah. Okay. Are blends considered lower quality than single origin oils?
Of course.
Okay, that was an easy one. Is it true that black olives will yield more oil, but green ones will deliver higher quality?
Yes, if you're looking at quality technically and chemically, but some people prefer more later harvest olive oils just because they don't like the bitterness and the pungency.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
But on the yield, yeah, absolutely. Earlier harvest will give you less yield. Later harvest will give you higher yield.
Okay. What is the best place to store olive oil? Is it the fridge or your like just pantry?
No, keep it in a cool, dry place, away from heat and sunlight. And if you can, away from oxygen. So some people will put it in a nitrogen tank.
Okay.
probably won't find that
You
in
do
a
that.
regular person's household.
I'm sure not.
But yeah,
Do you have it in your own household?
maybe.
That's fine. We can't we can't say anything about that.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Storing it in like a bottled glass, should it be light or dark? Because you have tins, so
Dark glass.
dark glass.
Dark glass. Light will really deteriorate the quality of your olive oil.
Okay. What's the most underrated dish that olive oil elevates?
For me, my favorite thing to eat olive oil with is a labneh. So for our non-Arab
I think
listeners,
everyone knows what labneh is.
yeah, by now it's very
Yeah,
gentrified,
yeah.
probably. Labneh with Lebanese olive oil or
Yeah.
Palestinian olive oil or, very smooth olive oil. If you can't find Lebanese olive oil, get yourself some Greek or Turkish. It's almost as good with the Labneh, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's my take. At
Yeah.
least.
And so final one, does olive oil expire?
Extra virgin olive oil deteriorates in quality with time. So the longer it's exposed to light, heat, and oxygen, the lesser the quality becomes. So if you define that as expiry, sure. Are you
Yeah.
gonna get sick if you have old oil? Probably not.
Not.
So
Okay.
I'm not a doctor though.
Yeah.
I'm just an
Okay.
olive oil guy.
Yeah. It's gonna taste like less good. But it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure.
Because I
And it won't
realized that.
have the freshness and the health benefits.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. I think I had actually 11 questions, not 10. So
It's okay.
so now I'll go to my 12th one, which is like my closing question, because unfortunately we have to wrap this up.
No worries. Go
So
on.
if you were to have a conversation today with your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Just keep eating olive oil, man.
If you were to go on a
Yeah,
deeper
simple.
level.
Very generic, but for me, it's what has been true. Follow your passion.
Yeah,
It's as
definitely.
simple as that, right?
Definitely, yeah.
If you don't have a reason to be there when the days are shit and when the days are good, then
Yeah.
why it's not worth it, right? So, and you will get shit days. I mean, this
of
is
course.
almost a given,
Yeah.
right? So you have to always have that thing that keeps you going.
Definitely.
And the second thing is that working hard is important, and having a successful career is important, but life is more than just jobs, right? And this is why I started this podcast when we were off camera by saying, I created the olive oil guy. I am not the olive oil guy. I am Mazen, and olive oil guy is my creation,
Yes.
and it's a reflection of me. But if one day, for whatever reason, it disappears, I am still Mazen, and I have still created the olive oil guy.
Yeah. I actually love
So,
that. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, that's so nice. That's a great way to kind of close this. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here, for sharing your knowledge, your story. And honestly, this is so good. I need to finish the shot we just
Thank
poured.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Seat of the Muse, and I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. If something stirred you today, a thought, a feeling, a question, I'd love for you to subscribe and follow on your favorite platform, leave a review, and even share this episode with a friend. Your support truly fuels this space and helps invite more voices to sit down with me. Until next time, stay curious.